Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm David Molko. Award-winning Portland chef Naomi Pomoy reportedly drowned over the weekend while floating down the river in Corvallis. Though authorities have not yet confirmed her death, friends tell the Oregonian this happened while she was floating near Mary's River. The Benton County Sheriff's Office saying a woman died there when her tube hit some sort of snag and she went under. At last update, crews were still looking for her body. Pomeroy was just about to open a new restaurant in Southeast Portland called Cornet Custard. She also owns Expatriate near Northeast Killingsworth, but first rose to fame with Beast, which the Oregonian named Restaurant of the Year in 2008. Pomeroy was later named one of Food and Wine's best new chefs and also won the James Beard Award as best chef in the Pacific Northwest. Michael Russell, who's been a restaurant critic at the Oregonian for over a decade now, remembers Pomeroy as one of the most notable people in the Portland food scene.
Frankly, for us, she's the Julia Child. She's the Alice Waters. She's the godmother figure of our food scene. And you'll see, this news is so raw right now.
Understandable. Pomeroy also fought for legislation to help restaurants suffering after the pandemic, working with the Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer. In a statement today, he wrote, "Naomi was not just a fabulous chef and entrepreneur, but an amazing human being. Her impact went far beyond Portland, helping establish our leadership and reputation for food excellence. She will be greatly missed." Now, fellow chefs have been posting tributes online, including this one from Andy Ricker, best known for Pock Pock. He said Naomi and her then partner Michael reinvented the Portland restaurant scene. From that first supper club to the present, she repped PDX. It got messy, it broke norms, it raised bars, it opened doors for all of us. Rest easy, legend. Your place in history and in hearts is eternal. Naomi Pomeroy was 49 years old. To political headlines, the GOP convention kicked off tonight in Milwaukee with former President Trump making a surprise appearance after officially getting the Republican nomination. NBC's Alice Barr has more on that, plus the other big news of the night from Milwaukee.
For the third time in less than a decade, Donald J. Trump is officially the Republican nominee for president. Making a surprise appearance on the first night of the party's national convention in Milwaukee, having survived an assassination attempt just 2 days earlier. Former President Trump and the party celebrating his newly announced running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. The 39-year-old first-term senator, who is half Mr. Trump's age, rose to prominence with his 2016 memoir, Hillbilly Elegy, focused on growing up in rural poverty. The one-time Trump critic, now a fierce ally and staunch advocate for hardline positions on abortion and attacking the legitimacy of the 2020 election. Delegates cheering on their new ticket, galvanized by the former president's fist pump and vow to fight following the horrific attempt on his life.
The devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back up on his feet and he roared!
Former President Trump is now reportedly rewriting his Thursday night acceptance speech to focus on unity. President Biden pressing for the same in an exclusive interview with NBC's Lester Holt.
There's no place at all for violence in politics in America. None. Zero.
Both candidates looking ahead as a 2024 campaign like no other enters a new stage. In Milwaukee, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, meanwhile, KGW's Blair Best followed up today with some Oregon Republicans to talk about the assassination attempt and the RNC, and that includes one now on the ground in Wisconsin.
Given Saturday's assassination attempt of the former president, many assumed the Republican National Convention would be canceled. Talking with the Oregon National Committee man there today, he says Oregon delegates are just grateful to be there and that there's a feeling of unity.
This convention will come to order.
Images from inside the Republican National Convention Monday in Wisconsin show a packed arena as former President Donald Trump is formally nominated as the GOP candidate just days after he was shot during a rally in Pennsylvania that's now being investigated as an assassination attempt. Dan Mason is the Republican Convention's National Committee man for Oregon. We talked over the phone Monday afternoon.
We're all kind of going through this weird experience of seeing a former president who's the nominee of our party nearly get assassinated on Saturday. And it's obviously a traumatic historical event.
In the wake of Saturday's shooting, which left one man dead and injured others, at first, Mason says safety was a concern for some Oregon delegates heading into the convention.
We're 100% safe. I mean, you have to go through a lot of security measures before you can even get into the actual complex.
Mason among the delegates flying to Milwaukee when they learned of Saturday's attack.
The guy looked like a frickin' Avenger standing up with the flag in the background. And I mean, probably superhuman, unreal, wild to see, and totally typical Trump. But it is definitely not the initial mood and tone that we would have thought, a week ago.
That shift felt back in Oregon as Republican lawmakers try to make sense of what's come of this election cycle that's so far proven to be unpredictable and now deadly.
I think no matter which side of the aisle you're on, we have to look in the mirror and show that this political rhetoric that has started and has continued to go can cause people to lose their life and push people in a direction, and it has to stop.
We really need to come together and stop blaming each side. I do have some hope for our nation because all of our elected leaders are calling for some sort of diffusing this left versus right rhetoric.
We need to step back from the passions and actually talk about things. And unfortunately, Trump, I don't think, is going to have that wherewithal. I don't think those folks around him are going to have that wherewithal. And I think they're going to try to capitalize on the energy. And now it's going to just go down a very different path.
Talking with the Oregon National Committee man Dan Mason today, he said given Saturday's attack, they're expecting to hear the most memorable presidential nomination speech of all time. He tells us that speech will happen on Thursday. Blair Best, KGW News.
Well, meanwhile, in President Biden's one-on-one interview with NBC's Lester Holt at the White House today, the president touched on a wide range of topics, but was in particular asked once again about his fitness to serve another term following his debate performance.
Who do you listen to on deeply personal issues like the decisions whether to stay in the race or not?
Me. Look, I've been doing this a long time. The idea that I'm the old guy, I am. I'm old. But I'm only 3 years older than Trump, number one. And number two, my mental acuity's been pretty damn good. I've gotten more done than any president has in a long, long time in 3.5 years.
Lester also asked the president about his confidence in the Secret Service following the Trump assassination attempt. President Biden says he feels safe with the Secret Service, but there's still an open question whether all law enforcement involved did enough to prevent the shooting. Let's talk about the heat now with Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino and a weather impact alert day in the forecast. So, Matt, how hot are we talking?
Yeah, hotter than the weekend. We're in the low 90s over the weekend. We drop back down to the 80s today, but tomorrow we got a little one-day heat wave on the way. 73 right now. We are running a couple degrees warmer than we were at this time last night. So we're going to have a higher starting point, meaning the morning low tomorrow won't be as cool as it was this morning, and it's going to get a lot hotter. So We've called for a weather impact alert day from tomorrow midday basically on through tomorrow night, even into Wednesday morning, because it's going to be very warm overnight. Tomorrow night by noontime we'll be up around 88, which is warmer than we got today. We'll top out around 98 tomorrow, so not triple digits, but close. And some spots in the valley like Salem may actually hit 100 degrees again tomorrow. So yes, it's going to be hot again tomorrow, but it's only a one-day deal. It'll be Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Stay hydrated, find some shade if you can, and try to avoid super strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day during the afternoon. The other thing we're watching for tomorrow and tomorrow night is the potential for showers and thunderstorms to bubble up over parts of western Oregon. We'll dig more into that and let you know how that may impact the fire weather situation in a bit. Back to you.
Thanks, Matt. We'll see you in a few here. Hey, speaking of wildfires, we have a quick update on several large wildfires burning in central and eastern Oregon, beginning with the Larch Creek fire in Wasco County. It's forced the evacuation of nearly 1,000 homes. It has grown to more than 18,000 acres, now 11% contained. To the east in Gillum County, the Lone Rock fire has quickly grown to more than 50,000 acres. Containment on this one is just 1%. We have a few more to tell you about now. In Harney County, the Falls Fire has burned more than 64,000 acres, about 20 miles northwest of the city of Burns. The fire started last Wednesday in the Malheur National Forest. Containment there at 0%. Finally, the largest fire in the state, the Cow Valley Fire, continues to burn in Malheur County. It's charged 132,000 acres west of Ontario. It's now 5% contained. Firefighters from other states are surging into Oregon to help fight those flames. Well, let's circle back to the Larch Creek Fire. That's the one in Wasco County, because the Oregon Humane Society tells us it raced to save more than a dozen dogs from a remote area impacted by the blaze. It's not clear exactly where they came from, though help was requested by police in the Dalles. They're now at the Society's Rescue Center in Portland, which also helped cats after the Maui wildfires and has taken the pressure off other county animal shelters. The Humane Society says these dogs will eventually be up for adoption. It was a violent weekend in Portland with 5 people killed and another hurt in shootings and stabbings. First, on Friday evening, a person was shot and killed at Selwood Riverfront Park. Then on Saturday, 2 men were shot and killed near a boat ramp at Broughton Beach off Northeast Marine Drive. Late last night, a man was shot and killed near Northeast Portland's Normandale Park. And just after midnight this morning, I know it is a long list here, a man died at the hospital after he was stabbed at Clinton and 136 in Southeast Portland. And then finally, a couple hours later, a man was shot in his vehicle at Southeast 20th and Taylor. He survived. The assistant police chief tells us the 5 deaths do not appear to be connected.
It's a tremendous number, and it's not common. I can't remember a weekend that was as violent as this weekend. In terms of themes, these were spread all over the city, all different groups of communities. So I would say no, there is not a theme.
Still 5 deaths, though. The chief says the Bureau will be boosting its presence over the coming days in an effort to deter further violence and to calm fears. In an update tonight, it looks like a long-awaited project in North Portland is about to begin. It's focused on a plot of vacant land near North Williams and Russell, thanks in part to a $2 million in funding secured by Oregon senators. This will be the site of 20 townhomes, 85 apartments, and some business space, community gathering space, too. It is, of course, part of the historic Albina neighborhood, and back in the 70s, this area was considered one center of Portland's Black-owned businesses. Then came the proposed expansion of Legacy Emanuel, which forced people out, and while the buildings were demolished, the land was never developed. Legacy has since donated the property to the nonprofit Williams Russell CDC, which is working on developing this project.
Recreate a community space for Portland's Black community to be back in the neighborhood, as well as provide some platform to create some generational wealth.
Construction there is set to start this fall and to be completed sometime in 2027.